Recording.
Okay. This is a meeting of the Hampden Board of Selectmen and the Board of Health being held at Thornton W. Burgess School, May 10th, 2020 at 6 p.m. The meeting is being conducted remotely using the video conferencing technology as approved by Governor Baker's emergency order in March of 2020. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Thank you. Please be seated. There's a large crowd out there this evening, so please just.
This is the problem I had last time.
Do we have any minutes?
We do not, but next
Okay.
week we're gonna be. So.
Okay. Let's fix this here. First,
I have the fire station transfer items.
yeah, Matt.
And here's where we're transferring.
So this is a transferring.
He's the one that recommended it.
Yeah.
It's shocking. I have to say, Don, there's something to be said for the fact we have this much money left in long claims. That's been a while.
Yeah.
So it certainly gives a little
Plenty
extra.
of money available for transfer.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So this transfer is this transfer is being, the request is being made to transfer $22,000 from $8,000 from the temporary help line, $7,000 from the selectmen's line, and $7,000 from the long claims line to be transferred to the firehouse ventilation to pay for electrical repairs and installation that's needed for the ventilation system.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to recommend these transfers to the advisory committee.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. This has to be.
Yeah, we're all out there. Hey, Rick, if you have when you have 2 seconds, could you bring that to advisory?
Do I need to sign
Yes,
this?
you do. Yeah. And hopefully they'll vote it tonight. We can, then you can let Ed know probably here tonight. Go ahead and make the bids now.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is reopening of town hall.
Nice.
And
And
reopening of town hall.
I think our employees are ready. Like at the last meeting I had with departments and staff, I mentioned that it's likely to happen in the near future. And no, I said, anyone object to this or feel uncomfortable? And no one did. So, I think it's up to the board when you'd like to do it.
I don't
has
know.
the governor given any guidelines?
Can I
There's
ask,
no
you,
guidelines. We'll
can the
begin to-
people who are viewing, can they hear us?
They put a hand, raise hand, something like that.
Nancy? Someone's got a thumbs up there.
Oh, he did. Okay, Joe, thank you, Joe.
All right, thank you. They're ready to open. When do you plan to schedule the opening?
Seems to me that we can open a week from today. Actually, that's the election day. So that might be good.
No, yeah,
Also, we have an issue of the selectmen's meeting on that day. We cannot meet in the auditorium, obviously, because it's being used for election. We could open Tuesday after the election, the 18th. Or we could push it ahead a week.
Will there still be masks required to be worn by people who come in?
Yes.
So are we talking then allowing people to go down and meet with people in their office
Yeah,
as
we
before?
would allow people to go into the offices.
How do I understand what you're saying. So, didn't get a full sense of the people that were at the staff meeting. How does the staff feel about that? Are they happier maintaining the current model of meeting with people in the
I
reception?
think they
area?
are.
I think they like that a
this
lot.
model.
Yeah.
Um,
And then as
because,
needed, go
people
down.
just don't pop in at random anymore.
Yeah.
It's much more orderly,
Mhm.
shall we say. I have not had any complaints about this system.
Mhm.
And when I did ask them last week, anyone object if we feel uncomfortable or unsafe if we reopen, everyone's been vaccinated in the building, by the way. So it's really just when we want to do it.
Hmm.
Well, I would think we do it around the calendar you just said, because I think that it's good to get back to normal as quickly as is safe. I'm surprised the governor hasn't said about masks or indoors, or surprised. The governor hasn't said, hasn't made it,
Mhm.
Is there an occupancy limit?
No. That just opened up stadium.
I think Wilbraham is opening their town
I
hall.
was just gonna say, what are our compatriots doing? If you want to like check with, Ludlow, Wilbraham, the usual suspects, if
I'm
you
not
will.
aware of other towns doing it like we do, having a receptionist, having department heads go to another room to
Mhm.
meet with people. But I know Wilbraham is open.
Well, why don't we set June 1st as a date, and it's, we have Memorial Day coming up, we got election, we got Memorial Day.
Mhm.
Set June 1st we could explore with,
And also really talk about, the nuances, and I hate to say it,
Right.
things like public bathroom. Is that included
Yeah.
when you talk about opening? Is that the whole thing?
June 1st, that'll work fine.
You can always revisit if we get
plan,
more.
right.
Yeah.
All right, so plan for June 1st.
Mhm.
We have a grand opening, like a ribbon cutting or
I hope
something.
so.
I would think a row of masks, if we could cut the mask out. with a little bit.
Nice.
Yeah, Thank
Cut the
you.
mask off.
Yeah, make sure I put them on their COVID expense. For next Monday, and this question came up last year, and it hadn't come up for a number of years before, because it really was never an issue. Do you want to just postpone next week's meeting and just have a Tuesday in there, or just skip a week? Is there any gun to our head for anything I can think of, or?
I'm not aware that we have a pressing agenda
You
after we get past this meeting. It seems to me
we could just,
we've dealt with a lot, and just thinking out loud, I think it would be maybe a little much to open up or to have a meeting on Tuesday, the 18th. And I'm not sure if they're going to be able to get all the equipment and so forth from the
Mhm.
election
yeah,
put away.
Oh, that's true. They
Yeah.
do need time.
Yeah.
To break it down. Yep.
So I'd like to encourage, as far as the meeting of the Board of Selectmen, we either have to do it in the office or not do it.
right. That, Mr. Chair, if it's,
Not.
like I say, if there's nothing, and if there is, we'll hear about it this week. Other than that,
We could always schedule, we could always do the Thursday if something came up.
if something was.
All right, let's make it for the 24th then.
Okay.
Because then the next week is Memorial Day,
Right.
so
On the first.
then it's Christmas.
Christmas.
Huh.
All right. Is this true? Appointment of a new
No.
WEMEC representative?
Not that I know of. I think Bob just copied it from the last
I put
one.
it on just in case we had a candidate.
Did we put it out there yet? I didn't notice, I didn't really see the good write-up in the paper, so maybe something on the home page might be a good thing. Bob?
Parks and Recreation request to transfer surplus fire department vehicle.
We did get a response from the fire department that the truck actually owned by the state
So the
and
last
was
one.
on loan. And so that has to go, even though it's well past its useful life, it has to go back to the state. So the issue would be whether to allow the Park and Rec department to have the other sedan.
I thought what we talked about last week was we knew that last week, and I talked about, why don't we check with the state and see what other lease vehicles are coming available? And failing that, we do have a truck that's coming out of the highway department fleet, if you will. I think also we have another F-150 or 250,
Next
Yeah.
year, right?
well, or it could be this fall. And maybe investigate that as well. See what the state has and see what we have. Sometimes we're not getting much for a trade-in on it, but they still have some good bones on it. I think it's worth getting the highway department. I know, Don, you're not a fan of growing the fleet, and none of us are, but department needs the tools they need to get the job done. Mark's been pretty good about having his guys bring stuff around to different fields, but they do have a trailer for the mower and stuff like that, and it would be handy. So again, would suggest that look at the state program, see what they have, how you apply for it. And then I did engage with Mark and gave him the particulars on the current or the next one coming off. It's a 2008, less than 60,000 miles. So it still has some pretty good life to it. And for the use they're looking for parks,
Yeah.
that's fine shape. Yeah. We won't-
And the
Yeah.
truck that would be coming out of the highway department, they're bringing the place, is that the option?
Well, that would be the typical, that one's been maybe every 3 or 4 years, another truck comes up, a pickup truck, if you will.
Right,
So that would be
they'll be down the
the
road.
next one up for rotation, basically. So as Don said, in 22, if you look at the map, they were looking for a replacement of a pickup, which we could do in the fall town meeting instead of waiting for next year. I think, Don, you're aware of what Cliff said last year, that this year's free cash is going to be because of late commitment from the
Yeah.
state. We have some rollover numbers here, so I think we have a lot of options in this request. The one option I don't think is really the good one is the fire department, but there are some other things opened up.
And you don't think the fire department is good because that vehicle is not
Well,
good enough condition for them, or because? it's-
basically, that's it. I mean, if it's really down to, for instance, the fly car, I believe needs training work, some other work. If we're gonna be using a car that we have to put another 10,000 into, we really haven't done much of a job. So,
Signing of newly dated easement agreement.
In the folder in front of you, Don.
Oh, in front of me.
Yep, right there.
Mhm,
Those two
easement
paper
agreement.
clips, yes,
Mhm.
2 originals, please.
Okay. Now,
Thank you very
explain
much.
this to me, because the original easement
mhm.
said that it goes along with the grantors,
Yeah.
the assigns,
Mhm,
yeah,
mhm.
so why do we have to
That's
do
what I
that?
was saying. If
Because-
it's successor,
Yeah, successor and,
When they were going through the title review, the purchaser saw that this had never been recorded. So when they went to report it, it's so outdated that they were not allowed
Oh, I
to,
see.
so we have to go through the entire
all right, yeah,
process.
that makes more sense.
So
right?
it's the-
You know,
I mean,
yeah,
it's just
the
a
recording
formality.
part.
I
It is
couldn't figure out why.
And yes, their sale is happening
Okay.
on the 18th tonight.
Mhm. And a local kid buying it, that's great.
Jack, Jermaine.
We have to vote on this?
You don't, I don't think so.
I'm signing.
You're gonna find a.
It's all
look
three of
for
us,
the
I
flag,
thought.
Yeah, we're
look for the
signing.
flag.
Oh, I signed here.
Yeah.
Oh. Nice.
I
Donald.
knew.
That's the nuns would say, really, Donald. You know, pay attention.
And Don's like, thank you, radar.
So you
Right?
know-
Yeah, right.
So John, you know, who's buying
Oh, yeah, that's great.
Sign
that? So
that.
happy.
Mhm. Good kid.
I don't know Ryan.
Which line are you signing on?
Second one.
Sign on the third one.
Thanks, radar.
Well, just so you don't have an issue. Can he sign on the second line, this one, and the third one, and that one?
I'm changing
Yeah.
colors.
You turned
If you
it
get one of
back.
those pens, remember we used to have like a click different
Yeah.
color? That'd be-
Oh, that's right.
What are you saying?
Jack Jermaine was
So just 2 copies. Pam?
very, just two, because Jack has his own.
Mhm.
All right, I'm entrusting these to you
Thank you. Yes, please.
for filing this time,
Yes.
so that
Probably a
27 years from now, when one of my great grandchildren are selectmen, they won't have to sign the thing.
That's right, a third time.
Yeah, but they're paying that COVID bill at that time. They haven't got
It won't be-
the salary would be much higher.
All right, we also need to sign, we have to vote, 1-day general license for the VFW for May 15th wedding.
Yes, there are 2 weddings coming up. 15th
And
and
the 22nd.
22nd,
Yellow one. So think, oh, we got.
yellow.
yellow. So we need a motion for that.
So moved.
Moving right.
So the motion is to
Award
One- one day general license, we have-
May 15th and May 22nd.
12 to 12 pavilion, 12 to 12 pavilion. And I assume that they,
Leave it at the last minute here.
One's a wedding party and one's a.
Same,
Saturday.
Wow.
same, I wonder. The party's a week after the actual wedding. That's nice. Second on both.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. What about, have we heard from them anymore on the Memorial Day parade? A Memorial Day ceremony? I mean,
I actually just got an email from Heath. He has a plan he'd like to present. So now that we're not meeting next week, I'll forward it along to the board. I haven't even opened the email yet. so.
The other thing we have is the entertainment license for La Casa Bella for indoor and outdoor entertainment with solo musician, occasionally a duo, on Friday and Saturday nights.
Sonny and Cher.
That was
back in-
approved by the governor. This morning.
Yeah.
The governor approved Casa Bella.
Live events.
The occasional
Yeah.
duo, actually.
I think the only issue we ever had with Casa Bella before, we had what was it, 8:30 or 9?
I
Because of the residential nature of the neighborhood.
gave them till 9. I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
typically they're like 8.
Yeah, 6 to, yeah, right.
That's La Catina. I thought you said Casa Bella.
We've got 2.
Oh, okay,
You're
yeah.
voting, you voted La Cucina.
Yeah,
So
we
we're
didn't,
just signing La Cucina, right?
Right.
yeah,
We have to vote, oh, here it is, La Casa Bella.
we didn't have the outside, we didn't have like an 8:30 for La Catina because they're more of a commercial neighborhood, you know.
Yeah.
Not like Casa Bella right across the street.
So this week, we have effective hours here, 6 to 10,
Saturday.
Saturday indoors, and 6 to 9 outdoors.
On Saturday? Oh, that's every day though. Friday.
Friday through
That's fine.
Saturday.
That's fine, yeah.
Friday through Saturday.
Before they had it, they were having a Thursday outdoor guy.
Yeah.
That was where we really got it.
But
Yeah.
you know what? It's funny, you cannot hear outside of that boxed
Really?
area, you know, with the post office on one
Mhm.
side.
Yeah.
And it's contained there. It's very quiet.
We'll find
Make
out.
a motion to approve
Right.
both entertainment licenses as requested.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we're signing these. This is, La Casa Bella.
I've had a pizza tonight, right? From the pizza.
All right, that's the thing we voted. We have variances to be voted. I'll give you this folder back. Oh, this to be signed is the appointing Don
Invitation.
Talbot to the Veterans Grave House, which you already voted on.
Should he be sworn in by Eva? You know,
I think so. Yeah. We're sworn out.
I did not say that. Sworn out or sworn in.
What about the Memorial Day plant sale?
Well, Connie wants to, oh,
Yeah.
Judy Brewer wants to know. They all want to know.
Okay, it's in the town administrator's report.
Well,
Right.
the reason I brought it up was because I spoke to Linda about it, Kravitz. And obviously the building won't be open as it's been in the past. So just to know that, you know, normally they don't come to us and ask if they can use town property for this. Nobody's ever had a problem with it. But obviously with the COVID thing, just to make sure that they're covered and they realize that since they're on town property, please abide by all restrictions enforced at that time. And as Mary Ellen said, who knows? A week from now, there could be changes. It could be 3 feet, it could be 1 foot, who knows?
They did state in there.
But they plan on abiding by everything, so duly noted and good luck, I guess would be the response on the board.
I know, do have to say, this whole social distancing thing has done wonders for our marriage, you know. A lot less fights.
I know you both went on vacation to Florida. You went to Miami and she went to Naples, but okay.
We certainly aren't observing that tonight, are we?
No, the variances,
Variances. There's one for 57 River Park Drive. It's a sieve analysis in lieu of a perk test. Use 1D poll. And it comes recommended by.
this is the sieve analysis, the substitute for a perk test.
Yep.
Use the one only default. I'll make a motion to approve variance.
Second,
All those in favor?
Aye.
that 57. Around the corner, that's not LaFave. It must be more around towards George, I think, on that side.
Yeah, in the corner there.
The second
Might be
variance is
Dorn.
for 51 Bayberry
Yes, it
Road.
is.
Reduction in separation between soil absorption system, SAS, and high groundwater from 5 feet to 4 feet. Again, is recommended.
So moved as recommended.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And the third one is 151 Ames Road. How am I saying, do I say seed? Is that correctly? said?
Sieve.
Sieve. A sieve analysis in lieu of perk test, use 1D poll, the same as 51 Park Drive, and again, it comes recommended. 151 Ames Road.
So moved as recommended.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I'd like to make a recommendation that if any variances that are time constrained that come in next week, as recommended by the health agent, that we give the authority to either Mrs. Glover or Mr. Markle to sign, since we're not meeting for the following week.
Motion?
If they're time
Yeah.
constrained, they got to be done, I'll make that motion.
Yeah, second.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, we're signing these?
No, I think I just.
Yeah, I think you
Yeah,
just
just-
have to sign it. All right, what else we have here? One-day permits, any particular correspondence? Selectmen's reports?
We got COA meeting happening tomorrow morning. Probably some of the discussion will be, as Bob has said, you know, what's the status on reopening? Becky gave us a little recap in the staff meeting last week, but as we know, day by day, everything changes. Planning board, we have a meeting this Wednesday. We will not be having the solar on the agenda this Wednesday, as we're still waiting for site plans to be worked out with highway, you know, where they can store the material. And Bob is going to be meeting with Mark and the proponent this week to see if we can come to some agreement. That's where we are.
Mary Ellen?
Library just has a minor issue with the budget item on in the town report that they submitted, which we're going to get changed. So that's number one. Park and Rec has not met, but they continue to have the issue about the truck, which is or vehicle, which can help to support them and help them do a better job of what they're doing already. Because they want to use their own vehicles, which is a nice change of pace. And the schools haven't making the news regularly. And people are making adjustments as to the new schedules that have been adopted and trying to ease their children back into full day enrollment.
On administrative report?
As John pointed out, there's a meeting tomorrow at 10 o'clock that I think will have very significant importance for the Amoresco project. Amoresco representative is not going to be there. Mark will be there, I'll be there. Perhaps the selectmen should be there.
No, I plan on being there.
The choices are to allow the position of Mark to prevail, which would mean that Amoresco will resort to larger and more expensive solar panels. And that would result in a, I think it's a $14,000 or $17,000 reduction
Mhm.
in the lease.
And how much is the lease now? How much you signed for?
I think we're in the, well, I don't know if we're still waiting for the final block number, I believe, as well, right? So it's something under 100 right now. I think part of what Bob has said is Mark did inherit this, and you have to give him credit for he's doing what he can. But any of us who have been up there might have said, maybe there's been some sprawl going on. It just because it was so available, here's this big old pile. And really, I think you need to just go back and say, well, could there be some consolidation? Just because you had 5 closets in the house, you didn't need to fill 5 closets in the house, just to put it in. I don't know if you have any
My
closets. Tom,
point
but-
exactly,
Thank you.
all the time.
Thank you. So we talked about if you see that one area that's just to the left of the tower where you have the blocks there, then like keep the stone dust in, maybe utilizing more of that like you see in some other communities as well. And I still think there can be some middle ground, and that's what Bob's been pushing. Where's the middle ground here between the area you need and the area the town really, really needs? As Mary Ellen reported, we really looked at the other town properties and there's really nothing available for good, easy access to the highway department.
And they can't put it near the tower because the tower's
Put it in
shadow.
the Tower because of the shadow.
They can't put the panels in the
Panel,
tower. We can put
we could-
more, like I said, if you look at
we
that
could
block
move
thing
our
that's there,
stuff
it
over
could be
there,
there.
right?
It also could be, if you looked at the map, you had the northern part butting up to the Hatch Farm,
Yeah,
that there was a setback that they couldn't put any panels in. But you could put the storage areas in there and still accessible. So why not that part as well? Hate to say, think outside the pile or the box.
right, yeah.
I thought last week that one of the options, or not, that you had investigated was behind the fire station. And you had, John had an objection to that because of future plans for the fire department being uncertain and so forth. So
Right.
I'm wondering how difficult it is for Mark to move his stuff. I mean, is that a big, huge job that he put his stuff there for a year or two and then said, okay, we gotta go someplace else? Or is that just too short-term a solution to be viable?
I think the worst part up there, and again, I'm not sure how often you get up there, you have that huge dirt /stump/stone behind, you know what I mean, Don?
Yeah,
That
yeah, yeah.
big old pile.
Yeah,
The compost pile is what it is, and that's a good thing. It does help them, and that probably could be pushed over into what they call the fall zone of the tower, which you can't have any panels in. I think that's where, well, we keep stumps up there for people to use, they can go and grab wood. Well, that's nice, but maybe you put that down in the C column. That's nice, but not necessary. Riprap, that's an A column. You need that. Stone dust, yes, you need that. And things that have just kind of like grown over history, maybe need to be looked at and really balance these things out there. And that's where I think a meeting like that will provide some illumination.
Well, we need to get this worked out because the planning board hearing, part 3, has been postponed again. It was scheduled for the 12th. It's now going to be on the 26th. This is the last remaining issue to be resolved. So that'll be at 10 o'clock tomorrow. The garden club, they would like to know if they need to be authorized by the Board of Selectmen for their Memorial Day plant sale. They said that they haven't been authorized in the past to do this, but they were just wondering if, given the way things have changed in the last year, whether
Didn't we
that's
just
now
cover this?
necessary.
I think the only thing is as long as they, to be aware of the COVID, things and
The building will not be open
the
for the
building's not gonna
bathrooms.
be open. There's no issue, I don't think. They've always done it every year, so.
Okay. We did meet again with Action this morning to discuss some issues. The grant for the culvert study with East Long Meadow has been submitted. should have a response on that by midsummer. We had another Veterans District meeting. There's an issue there involving the town of Munson, which has withdrawn from the district and which is unsatisfied with, I should like to say, unsatisfied with the service. I think the impact on the town will be that if Munson decides once and for all that they're leaving, no indication that they're going to change their mind. That will that'll change the formula, and it'll have an impact on the town's constitution.
Well, I'm just wondering, what would Munson do? What's their alternative?
Well, that's, I think.
Start another,
Hire their own
that's
agent,
what we
basically.
invested. They would have to hire their own veteran agent. I think that's going to be a tall order.
This happened with, a few years ago, I think Don Wales dropped out, and picked up their own. Was it Wales? Yeah. So I think after the dust settles, and Rick can probably report on that later, we probably would have an opportunity to amend the appropriation in the fall, because we'll have a little more share of it.
And have we analyzed our satisfaction with their service? If Munson is just satisfied, are we satisfied, or have we even looked at that, or?
Our representative has not offered any criticism of the service. That's Rick Green.
Right.
The hearing on the petition of the Hampden Police Patrolmen, switch unions, was basically canceled. The reason is that apparently the IDPO did not object, and the new union is simply going to take over. Both the chief of police, as well as our union, and I represented that the town did not want the reserve officers to be in the union. So,
are they still gonna have the election?
no,
No.
All right, so the whole thing was a
yes.
time waster?
Certify, and that's it.
Okay, so then moving forward, in terms of like, now we got to start contract negotiations after wasting time with this whole scheduling thing. Not, we didn't waste the time, but they wasted our time. So are we authorizing Bob to meet with the union head and let's start a short list, what's going
See what
on?
they want.
Yeah,
See what they want, we'll tell them what we want.
right.
What I would typically do is notify the union that we're available to bargain for a new contract. Ask them to bring a list of things that they're interested in discussing. I've already asked the chief of police to review the contract carefully and to give to me a list of items on the management side that we should put on the table. That's where we stand.
Just one little piece to that, Bob. You had signed something and asked me to get it back to
Yeah.
the union. I contacted Tommy Yvonne because I think he's the president, and I've not heard from him, so I never sent the paperwork to anybody. I didn't have an address, so I was waiting to hear from him.
I would contact Scotty and ask him who the current president is, just to verify it's the Sergeant Yvonne. He's just ready to do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't understand the issues
we are-
over there, there's 10 of them.
There was a meeting last week over Zoom of Long Meadow and Hampden to discuss having a restaurant week as a way of helping our restaurants that have been through the crisis and are reopening. And I thought it was a good idea. No decisions have been made at this point. Regional Health Group has been notified that a grant was approved. Towns of Long Meadow, Wilbraham, Hampden, and Munson, as well as the PVPC, awarded a shared public health grant, $287,500 from the Massachusetts Department of Public Health. Grant covers the next 14 months, designed to assist the participating towns in their goal to create shared public health service arrangements. We have the money. And that's the report. I've listed some upcoming dates there, but so you're aware of all.
All right, anything else to come before the board?
No, do we have the motion list anywhere or with the assignments? I didn't see it. Usually we have the paper in front of us with the names next to it.
I
Yeah, they're in
listed
there. They're in
Within
the,
your packet.
Under
handout.
each.
Packet, so to speak.
The packet.
You say packet. I don't know, they're not here.
Right. It's in the upper right-hand corner of
I
each
don't have no motions here.
article,
Yours doesn't have motion?
No,
small letters.
Does yours don't?
hang on, maybe.
Yes.
You have
Let's try this
motions?
one. Let's try this one.
Oh,
Let's try this one. There we go. Oh, but no names.
Names, sure.
you said it
Oh,
was-
okay, there we go. Nice. Not big names, okay.
Right.
Small names.
Small names.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so everybody's aware before we go to bed here with the, so I've got some numbers for basically backing up our issue with the highway building. I contacted some suppliers to get, what the rises have been in raw materials. Hopefully you saw. Bob, did you forward the email from Peter Valensky to the board?
Did I? I don't know that I did or not. I have it right here, though. I can bring it up.
Yeah, see it right there, so.
Yeah, right, I saw that.
Okay, we did we did talk about the fact we're concerned about another bump, so we should be, but the whole thing about the explanation is our goal here is to fund this with the federal money that's coming in. And Don, you heard the confirmation that there's no question, this certainly qualifies.
They just
Richie
sent it
Neal is
today.
signing the check, right, because he's chairman of Ways and Means?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
I have a question about, hold on a minute now. The Academy Hall paint, oh, okay, so, all right. 4,000 above,
No, it's actually 5,000 right now. Yep,
We at 900 now?
yeah, because it could possible, creep in the, since we can't do it till July 4th, yeah.
It's just, because the first we heard is we saw it in the motions. The last number we had a week ago was 700.
700.
Now we're talking 900.
yeah.
Yeah, we got from Ty and Bond, if you look behind you, there's the official.
Okay,
And the MMA sent out a thing today that the Treasury sent out the summary of what will be paid for, and it's definitely paid for. from the
Rescue plan.
Rescue.
so we have an assurance for what that's worth.
Right.
Yeah.
That it's gonna be reimbursed.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
And it's 900 and are we borrowing 900 or are we raising the appropriate?
No, I asked the treasurer.
Mhm.
He said we would issue a state house note. So the article says borrow, allow to borrow, it, so we'd issue it. The process is now you spend the money up front and get it. So
Right.
temporarily, we
So
have to have to
Hey,
pay.
we're not allowed to
Borrow
borrow in
900,
anticipation of
and then we'll work out
reimbursement.
the back end of it, whether it's reimbursed or
Right.
financed.
Yeah.
And then Doug, just let me confirm that you have a changed number for the library.
We had some talk about it and we don't have a number. I
Well,
mean,
she said she emailed it to your board, so I don't know where the heck this is. When she comes in, I'll try to grab it, and get the number, but I don't have it.
Carol said that she heard tonight
Yeah,
that there was a new number for
There was a new
library.
number.
Everybody looked at everybody. and It's like, did anybody
Yeah,
hear?
First I heard of it.
Nobody saw it.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we don't actually have a number.
Yeah. We never saw
I
it.
don't know who she
Don,
said.
did you
it to,
ever
but
see
when
it?
she comes in, I'll grab it.
Just when Mary Ellen told me.
Never heard
Because
of
we had
it.
some
I
discussions
never saw
about
an email or
process.
nothing.
I
was-
saw
it
the
was-
stuff about
it was-
assessors, I never heard a word
Process.
on about it.
Making revisions to the budget based on somebody hollering when
Yeah.
you're walking by. I mean, too many changing numbers.
This was not that way. This was, she went to Collins with a.
I understand what happened.
Reassessment, and then she got the figure, and then she forwarded the figure to you people.
But they
and
haven't
she told
seen it.
me
Not
that-
to our, how about our
But I don't
board?
have, I don't
Right,
have it.
right.
So I'll get it for you.
Take care of the call, take care of the call.
Something to work with. We need something, preferably an email with a number that says this is what we are revising the budget
She
to.
said she did, but I will double check it. I will double check it.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, yep.
Any further business?
Nope, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Are we moving to the other table? or staying here?
Aye.
Oh, my gosh.
Aye.